Each of the 600 or so different families of flowering plants has its own distinctive floral blueprint. But within each family there is still a great deal of variation on that basic pattern. And a good example of this, an excellent example of this really, is the pink or carnation family. A few weeks ago we looked at greater stitchwort, which has open, relatively simple flowers with easily accessible nectar that can be reached by a great variety of insects. Bees, wasps, butterflies, beetles, a whole range of different sorts of flies. And now, here we have white campion, a member of the same family, but look how different the structure here is. An ancestral campion had 5 separate sepals, similar to our stitchwort. But here, as you can see, they have fused to form an inflated flask. There are 2 parts to the 5 white petals, an upper part that is a deeply cleft, frilly heart shape, and, at right angles to this, a narrow claw-like part, enclosed in the calyx tube, where they dovetail neatly together to form a slender pipette. Where the 2 parts of the petals meet, here at the mouth of the flower, there is a little projection or flange, and adjacent flanges overlap in such a way that only insects with a long, narrow tongue can access the nectar at the base of the pipette. The 2 sexes are separate. This is a female plant. Female flowers are more inflated than male flowers, and the calyx has 20 veins, whereas the male calyx has only 10. Inside is a column-like green ovary, surmounted by these 5 elegant stigmas. These are held tightly together in the young flower, but as they emerge from the mouth of the flower, they bend away from each other to form a sort of starfish shape. And this is a male plant, the flowers on which have a calyx tube and just 10 veins. There are 10 stamens in 2 groups of 5, an outer group that opens to present their pollen on the first night of the flower's short life, and an inner group that does so on its second night. The flowers are pollinated by night-flying moths. Among the more striking of these visitors is the elephant hawk moth. The ovary becomes a tough capsule inside the persistent papery calyx. When ripe, this capsule has teeth that reflex in dry weather to scatter the numerous seeds. One very interesting detail about the sexual dimorphism of white campion, the way in which you've got separate male and female plants, is that it's under the same sort of genetic control, more or less, as it is in us, in mammals generally, including ourselves. So you've got a female XX chromosome and you've got a male XY chromosome. But there is a campion smut, a fungal parasite, that activates certain male genes in female plants, allowing them to produce what look like rudimentary stamens. But these stamens are producing not pollen grains, but spores of the fungus, which means that insects visiting the flowers are transporting, taking away with them, fungal spores rather than pollen grains.